Primarily, the books of science fiction interest in Carter's oeuvre are as follows. From 1969, Heroes and Villains. From the mid-70s, The Infernal Design Machines of Dr. Hoffman. And then 1977, The Passion of New Eve. This is what I said about Heroes and Villains in 100 Must-Read Science Fiction Novels. Angela Carter, 1940-1992, UK. Heroes and Villains, 1969. And here what you're seeing is the US first edition, Simon & Schuster. The UK edition is Hart Davis and is a lot more uncommon and hard to find in good condition. And as I say, this is the King Penguin B format, which I first bought in the 80s. Angela Carter's death from cancer in 1992 robbed modern English literature of one of its most original and inventive talents. All her books contain elements of fantasy and speculation, but few of them can be convincingly claimed for science fiction. Heroes and Villains is one of these. It is set in a future world that has been devastated by nuclear disaster. Although Carter places little emphasis on this, and her main interest is in the characters who populate the world rather than the events which brought it into being. Her central protagonist, Marianne, lives in what is almost literally an ivory tower, an isolated bastion of literacy and technological know-how in a wild forest filled with barbarians, tattooed men and women who have reverted to tribal primitivism. Marianne's father is one of the Professors, the group that preserves the pre-Holocaust heritage, but after his death, she escapes into the forest and joins forces with Jewel, a barbarian leader whose vitality and virility both fascinates and appalls her. In Jewel's company, she experiences the often brutal reality of life outside the confines of that ivory tower. Heroes and Villains is a remarkable book, which even after several readings, remains open to endless interpretation and reinterpretation. On the one hand, it is a baroque tale of the future, filled with fantasy and magic, in which the heroine is led from a sheltered world to a richer but more dangerous one. On the other, it is a fable of civilization meeting barbarism, in which the sterile rationality of the professors in their towers is seen as inadequate and constraining. Men, and more significantly, women, need to confront the irrational and the primitive within them and to learn the value of imagination and mystery in their lives if they are to become their true selves. So that's Heroes and Villains, and to sort of read on, I recommend it that people also read The Infernal Design Machines of Dr. Hoffman, and to look at The Bloody Chamber as well, which is the short story collection from the late 70s, which spawned The Company of Wolves, as I've said elsewhere, and that's probably her most influential and popular book still. Carter really was sui genre. She was one of a kind, but she's hugely influential. So that's Heroes and Villains. That's the one to pick up if you're interested in SF, though the others I've mentioned here and show here do have SF elements. I would say that if you can get early 70s editions of Heroes and Villains, they're in A format. I think there was an Arrow one and maybe a Quartet one, and they were published and packaged as science fiction. And Heroes and Villains, despite what I said there in that text about fantasy and magic, I think that actually might have been written by my co-author Nick Renison rather than me, because it doesn't feel like my style, even though there's certainly some of my insights in there, I would say. So possibly he wrote at least part of that. But you know, there is not fantasy or magic in it. It just has a fantastic feel. It's very definitively SF. So if you can see that in a format edition, snap it up, because they are uncommon now. Great book. Probably my favourite single novel by her, I guess, after The Passion of New Eve. So this is Stephen E. Andrews, author of 100 Must-Read Science Fiction Novels, signing out for now. Bye.